yeah, if you could just carry on doing 30 miles an hour in a 50 zone, that'd be great. Okay, so I'm on the Suzuki GW250, or the Inazuma, as it's also known, which is Japanese for hurricane or tornado, something like that, I think. Road winner. IRC road winners, never heard of those. So this is a 250cc parallel twin. Doesn't make a particularly nice noise, I have to say, but it is very, very smooth. Suspension nice and soft and squidgy. It's really good on bumps. It's a nice soft squidgy seat. Tops out at about 80, 85, something like that. It's not stupendously quick. But there's a lot to be said for small bikes. You know, I ride a lot of big sport bikes and super bikes and stuff, and they're great, you know, on the right time, the right place. They're amazing, but a lot of the time they're just kind of frustrating because you can never really use all the performance of them. And you just spend most of your time crawling around in first, second gear trying to do 20 miles an hour everywhere these days, which is pretty freaking annoying on a sport bike. But with bikes like this, you're flat out everywhere. And that's fun. Because it's lighter, it's easier to throw around. I mean, this thing's still about 160 something kilos. It's really heavy for a 250, but it's still light and really, really nimble. Skinny tyres, you know, changes direction quickly. Riding it sort of sensibly to and from work every day, even like stop-start traffic through town, I'm still getting about 80 miles to the gallon, which is just like, that's just a revelation to me. Like my Aprilia was doing about 20 miles to the gallon. So that's a heck of a difference. Just extra money in my pocket every week. Obviously the Aprilia was a tad more exciting when you can use it. And I guess that's my point. Like the Aprilia, I had one last hurrah around South Wales the other week. But every other time I was just basically riding it to work, which was just a massive pain in the ass for a bike like that. So I sold that because I wasn't really using it how it should be used. Whereas this, I'm kind of using it as a commuter bike, but it still doesn't mean I can't be an idiot and throw it around and do little jumps like that on it and just generally be a complete dick everywhere, because no matter how fast you go, chances are you're probably not going to lose your license on a bike like this. And it's just good fun revving the hell out of this thing and just slamming the brakes on everywhere, and it teaches you a lot riding small underpowered bikes, I think. And I think anyone who doesn't is kind of missing out. 35 miles an hour, 6th gear, just cruising along down these little B roads. So soft, soaking up the bumps really well. And that's where the extra weight of this bike helps, actually, compared to like some of these really super lightweight little bikes. It kind of just floats over bumps. And when you do sort of chuck it into the corner, it stays flat through the corner. It's not skipping around all over the place. So the extra weight, I think, in some ways is an advantage. It's probably slowing it down a little bit, but then this isn't a bike designed for performance. It's a bike designed for miles per gallon. And it's pretty good at that. But that's not to say you can't have fun with it, because you can. You can have fun on any bike, I reckon. Any bike at all. I used to have a C90, and I had so much fun on that thing sometimes. Because you just basically push it to the absolute limit all the time to see what you can get away with. And because you're only doing 30 miles an hour when you are pushing it to the limit, if shit goes wrong, it's fine. You're only doing 30 miles an hour. You can catch a tank slapper at 30 miles an hour, it's no problem. But yeah, with big sport bikes, you have to pick your moments, you know. You can't just hammer it everywhere, because you'll be doing 100 miles an hour in first gear with some of these bikes. So you pick your moments. You sometimes have to travel long distances just to find the right road. Go for the overtake here. But with this, you could just be riding around a council estate. It's still a fucking adventure, because you can just throw it around everywhere. Like, the thing is you have to keep the speed up with these bikes, because if you come out of the corner and go down the gear or use the brake too much, you spend the next half a mile trying to get up to speed again. Just revving it as hard as you can and just being as brave as you can, because if you come out the corner in the wrong gear with no revs, you've got nothing, no torque, no power, nothing. So, and I think that teaches you a lot about how to ride bikes quickly and safely. You see so many people, not so much these days, but a lot of people used to just do a week of training and then just go and buy an R1 and that was it. Then they just ride sport bikes for the rest of their life. And I think you're missing out really, because yeah, obviously you'll learn a lot from riding an R1, who won't, but in terms of bike control and in terms of feeling what a bike does on the limit, it's difficult to do that with a big sport bike safely. You just can't go out hammering it everywhere because there's other people around. But on a bike like this, when it's comfortable, you don't really mind just crawling between different roads because it's comfy, it's smooth, it will do 20 miles an hour quite happily. I still don't really fully trust these tyres though, to be honest, but they seem to do a good enough job. Down a few gears, bum off the seat. See, it's only like 40 miles an hour, but it's just good fun, you know? And slow through here. Something quite childish, something quite funny about just pinning the throttle everywhere. Just reminds you of when you ride bikes when you were a kid around fields and stuff, just like just pinning it everywhere, and it's fun. It's just fun knowing that you're getting the absolute maximum out of your bike all the time. Knowing that you can't really do that on a sport bike because it will just bite you or kill you. Look at that shit, yeah. Springy legs. Oh, please don't go left. I hope this car isn't going left. Nice. Alright, we're just going to barrel down this B road and see what sort of top speed we can get down here. Gearbox is really smooth on this thing. Typical Suzuki. Over the humpback bridge. So we're pretty much maxed out. I've just had the throttle wide open for quite a while now. Still in fifth. Up to 80. Got to be careful, there is horses along here sometimes. But luckily this bike is pretty quiet, so again, just flat out everywhere. Oh, this is fun. Okay, I need to slow down through this bit. Down a few gears. You never know what's around this corner. Try and look around a little bit. Tell me this isn't fun. Okay, this is probably one of the more boring bikes you can buy at the moment. But I'm still having a good laugh. Yeah, see, there's a horse. That's a sweet horse. Oh, nice. It's a pony, actually. Sorry, it's a Shetland pony, not a horse. I don't even know what the difference between a horse and a pony is, to be honest. It's just size, I think. Tuck in a little bit down here, see what we can get. 80 miles an hour going uphill. There is a flying crest up here. I don't think we'll get any air at this sort of speed, but we'll give it a try. 80 miles an hour, come on. No air today. I have to say, actually, I do like the dashboard. Right, nice old Vespa there. Yeah, I like the dashboard. It's got a nice big rev counter. You've got a gear indicator just tucked inside, which is really nice. The speedo's really easy to read, digital. It's got a proper fuel gauge, which seems to be pretty accurate as well. Some good idiot lights on the side. It's good. It's pretty comprehensive, to be honest. It's got a trip computer. Some actually pretty good for how cheap this bike is. Oh, I didn't actually mention the price, did I? This thing is £3,000, this thing, brand new. £3,000 for a brand new bike. Look, there's a TL sat at the side of the road. Those guys alright? They need any help? I think they're okay. despite the fact the suspension's so squidgy, it actually handles surprisingly well, this thing. Oh, I'm going to be sat behind a truck. This is the one problem with bikes like this, is when you do get to a nice road and you're sat behind a truck that's doing sort of 50 miles an hour, it's quite difficult because you don't have the extra torque to just blast past it. So, but again, then it becomes sometimes almost like a little game, like a little overtake game, whereas when you've got a big sport bike, it's just like, oh, I can make that, loads of room, boom, overtake done. With a bike like this, you have to pick your moments, and it becomes like a little game almost. I like how comfortable it is. I like the upright position. Feet pegs are in a nice position. There's not too much bend in my knee. Seat's really comfortable, really accommodating, really supportive, even over long distances. And once I've been sat in there for a long time, the mirrors are really good. There's no vibration. They're really solid. They don't move around. I like the gearbox. It's really slick. I've not missed a gear yet, I don't think. Again, everything like the clutch, all the switch gear, it's really quite solid. Like all the switch gear feels really nice. The clutch feels really light. You can almost one finger clutch it. Clutchless gear changes, no problem. The suspension is nice and soft, so on sort of bumpy B roads like this, and it's really quite compliant. Once you get up to speeds of sort of 60 plus, and you're sort of pushing it on around the corners, you do feel that sort of squidginess, the sort of lack of damping. But that kind of makes it a bit of fun, you know, when you feel a little bit of a bounce mid-corner and the bike shimmies around underneath you. It's fun. It's controllable. It never really feels out of control, but it's not that sort of fine, delicate sort of feedback that you get from like sport bike suspension. But I'm alright with that. It doesn't bother me. That's the compromise with a bike like this, which is, you know, designed primarily for commuting and miles per gallon and comfort. But because it's so light and because it's so small, it does actually handle surprisingly well. I mean, I've had my knee down on this thing, believe it or not. I've got the scuff marks on my jeans to prove it. I wasn't trying to get I was kind of semi-trying to get my knee down. I actually ground the foot peg out a little bit as well, a couple of times. So you can crank this thing over. You know, it's easily doable. And it feels a lot more satisfying when you do, compared to a Sport 600 where you can just go, you know, knee to knee through some corners, not so much on the road. You know, this thing, it feels more of an achievement when you scrape the foot peg or get your knee down on something like this. Right. Oh, let off a little bit. See, again, I let off the throttle a little bit there, and it cost me a little bit of speed. Have to pick your lines, full throttle, chuck it in. Oh, I let off a little bit there.